Well, now it's time for Ag on 8, where we share ag news impacting you. Well, first, it's official. Two railroads have submitted their paperwork and they're asking for review of an $85 billion merger. That's to create the first American transcontinental railroad. Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern sent a 7,000-page application to the U.S. government with 2,000 letters of support. The deal is backed by the nation's largest rail union, but just days ago was disapproved by two other rail unions. Now, back in November, the Illinois Farm Bureau, the Minnesota's Farmers Union, and a number of other trade groups expressed concerns about this merger. We'll be tracking this for you at our website, WQAD.com, and we'll let you know of any updates. Well, in our rural communities, farmland prices are going up. Creighton University's monthly Rural Main Street Economy report says that those land prices are in their highest since April of 2024. The report looks at things like equipment prices, banking, hiring, and home and retail sales in 10 states. Overall, the analysis is more positive than last month, and half of the bank CEOs surveyed in the report say that lowering trade restrictions would be the best way to boost farm income. Well, as dairy farmers look to next year, the big news is cheese. You can see it there on your screen. In the latest December report from the United States Department of Agriculture, dairy farmers expect cheese production to grow by 3% in the U.S. next year. That's partially due to the ability to produce more products as a number of new cheese plants are being built across the country. Meanwhile, worldwide, milk production continues to go up. Well, after over a decade, whole milk could be back on the school menu soon. In the last week, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act, which allows whole and 2% milk to be back in the lunchroom alongside 1% in skim. It also provides kids lactose-free drinks, too. Well, Frank Dole, a dairyman from Illinois, joins us sharing why he supports this change and what it can mean for both kids and farmers. Well, Frank, I'm so glad that you could join us today. You obviously support this legislation, which has a history. Tell us about what it goes back to. When was whole milk out of the cafeteria in the first place?
Yeah, so like you said, Haley, about a decade ago, the administration at that time decided that whole fat was bad for kids and really thinned it down. And the Dairy Association, we fought hard against it, but we lost. And we spent pretty much a decade trying to fight to get back into school. Whole milk is what people serve their kids now. And not too many people ever went to the grocery store and buy skim chocolate to take home. So that's what we were feeding at the school lunch program for a long time. And as a dairy farmer, that hurt a little bit. We really like whole milk. Just plain white whole milk is great, but then whole chocolate or 1% chocolate is a good product. So we're glad we're going to be able to offer that back to schools again.
Well, and the good news for all the kiddos out there, there are flavored milks still that are on the shelf with this legislation, which has now passed both chambers of Congress. It's headed to President Trump's desk. Why do you support this bill?
First of all, I think just the taste. Whole milk, the fat that's back in whole milk is really good. It leaves kids fuller. It's a great product. It's something we take great pride in producing as dairy farms. We sell whole milk to the dairy, and then they change it back to 2%, 1% or whole milk. So whole milk is just it's a staple. It's a trademark for the dairy industry. So we're huge fans, and that's how we get paid. Butterfat affects our price of what we get to take home to help support our families.
Butterfat is exactly where I'm going with my next question. The American Farm Bureau reports that this change will slightly increase milk demand, but it's more of a significant impact on butterfat. Why would this bill increase the demand for this product?
So the butterfat that's used in milk is, if you go from fat-free, which is no butterfat in there at all, 1% is 1%, 2% is 2%, but whole milk is only 3.25%. But that 1.5 or 1.25% more fat over millions and millions of half pints of that school milk is a lot of butterfat that'll be consumed and taken off the market, going back into fluid milk, whether we have to, instead of drying it into powder or some other form of dairy product that's less available. This is a quick turn. Putting milk back in a bottle or jar, whatever, is a quick turn, and it helps the dairy business and makes it better for us.
Well, the American Farm Bureau also reports from 2013 to 2024, whole milk sales have grown 16% nationwide. Why are people making this switch, and are you seeing any other trends in the dairy industry?
So there are lots of trends, and there are a lot of very positive things for dairy. Protein is the thing to have right now. So there's a lot of protein in milk. this whole milk is really taking off on the prairie farm side of things. We see our skim milk sales just declining and declining, and whole milk sales taking off. 2% is kind of flat, but the whole milk is really taking it from the skim milk side. So it's exciting to see that. Other trends, cottage cheese. We can't hardly make enough cottage cheese right now. It is really blown. TikTok has been a great driver of cottage cheese sales because people are baking with it and using it in all different kinds of things. And we use a lot of milk to make a pound of cottage cheese too. So there's some great trends. Protein, like I said, it's a great place. It's a good time to be a dairy farmer right now.
It's funny you mentioned cottage cheese. We just did an interview about that a couple months ago here on Ag on 8, so we're pretty familiar with that. If we get back to this bill, if the president does sign it, which it seems like he's very likely to do, how long before it's physically, this whole milk, this 2% milk, is physically in school lunch coolers for kids to drink?
So I think we already offer the product, but we just got to get it into all schools. We got to get the school districts on board. So like me personally, I'm going to go to my hometown and talk to my superintendent and a couple school board members to see if I can get pushed into my local school. But I think realistically, it might be even the fall of 27 before we can get it in there widespread. It's going to cost a little bit more, but not a lot. So there's going to be a cost, and we're hoping the federal government or states will help offset that cost a little bit, because the fat is what costs a little bit more money. So, but it's a great product, and I really hope that we get the help and a lot of school districts jump on board with it.
Well, Frank, thanks for joining us today. And as always, thanks for joining us for Ag on 8. We'll see you back here next week.